I have a new respect for anybody who does this. It's tricky. It's not piece of cake.
It's exhausting. I mean, there's so many little things. You think you're just gonna press the camera and go like record, but you're not. So
It's
for
just
every
so,
podcaster out there who we've ever like shat on, I'm sorry about that.
yeah, we already love
And
you.
yeah, it's like making a film, right? I mean, we've like if you don't know what goes behind it, it's so easy to curse it. But then you spend one day on set. Like after my mom came to the Ishq in the Air set. After she saw us run around, she has never cursed a film in her life again. She's like, "Oh, I know. So how hard y'all work."
Yeah, I remember her reaction. She was like, I can't believe you have to do the same thing and from like so many different angles, and you're barely shooting like 4 minutes a day. And I'm like, yeah, I know it was something.
ओ वही सबको लगता है हम कैमरा चिटका के मतलब कुछ और करते नहीं है उसके बाद
And I think everybody thinks that filmmaking is just the most fun, chill, playing around in the playground type of thing. Uh, and
Yeah.
but you
So the
can't.
sound bodyguard has never shouted at them, no, silence!
I always I lose my shit and when anytime somebody goes silence and I always start laughing. It's like I don't know why. It's
Yeah, it's like this bad flashback of being back in school again. But you're like, I'm supposed to have autonomy at this point. Why don't I have it? Why are they still telling me to keep quiet? This is not how adulthood was supposed to work. Okay, everyone, after all that blabbering, just wanted to welcome you back to another episode of the Breakdown Besties podcast. We are your besties. I'm Ananya.
I'm Akshay.
And together we have about a combined experience of 14 years in the film industry, working on all sorts of different shows like Mismatch, Rana Naidu, Inside Edge. What else have you worked on, Akshay? This love scam
Wow.
show. I keep forgetting the name.
Wedding.con. That
Wedding job.
and the one which we just spoke about, Ishq in the Air.
Ishq in the air.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. I love Akshay. It's like 8:30 in the morning and I've had one cup of coffee. So excuse me.
it's fine. It's fine.
Oh,
Apology
yes.
accepted.
Thanks. Thanks. So, with the Breakdown Besties podcast, our intention is to break down scripts for you, just like they would in film school, where you study a scene, you go on and see what makes the scene great, what makes it work, what makes it what it is. So we're doing that for free to educate ourselves, and we're recording it for you so that you get an education to hopefully, or decide that maybe you never want to like write films like we do. Either way.
Yeah, we're here to bring down the magic. So you realize that
Yeah.
everything is manufactured, everything is man-made, uh,
Yeah.
and
And teach you how to make it yourself. Because,
yeah, why
yeah.
not? I think there is a lot amount of fun to do that.
Okay. So, today, the film that we'll be breaking down for y'all is a classic 2003 Bollywood when we had some of the best in the industry, when we went to the theater and actually laughed because the jokes were good and we were able to like suspend our disbelief, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so the film today is your favorite Gunda with a Golden Heart, starring Sanjay Dutt in Munnabhai MBBS. And yay! It's written by Raju Hirani, story by Raju Hirani, screenplay by Raju Hirani and Vidhu Vinod Chopra and Lajan Joseph, and dialogues by Abbas Tyrewala. We think all the three elements come together really well in this film, so kudos to all the writers and our director for bringing it to life. But this is a writer podcast, so more kudos to the writers and the
Yes.
director, who obviously made a lot more money than anyone else on this. We
I
can't
mean,
give you money, but we can give you kudos.
the story writer and the screenplay writer is also the director, which is Rajkumar Hirani. So,
Huh, but I mean, like the other people, jeez.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, so let's recap the movie a little bit. which is very quickly Gunda fakes that he's a doctor to his father. His father finds out, and then he's like, I ain't no liar, so I'm going to be a doctor for real.
Yeah.
And his journey to becoming a doctor until he realizes that he can't become a doctor because
It's
life is
hard.
actually serious.
Yeah. Also, medicine is fucking hard.
Yeah. Hmm. So, yes. Okay. So
But
that's all I have to say for the introduction. What about you? Sorry, I
but
cut you off.
off the hook, I think what an interesting premise, right?
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
log line level of the film, it works. I can immediately
Works. Yeah.
understand why somebody would be interested to write the story, somebody would be interested to make this film. Uh,
Yeah.
it, it combines these worlds which we have never spoken about together. And
Yeah.
it's the almost very PG-13 version of the Mumbai Mafia
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the world of
Literally. Yeah.
medicine. Uh,
Medicine. Exactly.
so,
And that's how it works, right? Like, I didn't have this in my notes, but I'm going to, now that you brought it up, like, let's even break down the log line before we get into the actual film. So, writing a log line is essential, not just because you're going to be pitching your log line around, shopping around to producers and stuff, but as a writer, your log line is something you revisit over and over again when you get so lost in the weeds of your story that you forget what you're actually trying to do. What is the simple one line? What is your main conflict? What is your main character arc? All of that comes into a log line. So I want to go back to what you said right now, where you said that they combine two very different worlds. They put a gunda who's completely unstructured into the very structured world of medicine. So what do we see there that makes a good log line? We see a setup and we see a conflict immediately. We see conflict between the two worlds, and that is primary when you're writing a film because every scene, every character, every line of dialogue is built on near contradictions. What you do is you take a range of emotions, for example. You can have love on one side and hate on the other. You won't go as far as hate, but you will go to a certain amount of indifference. And when you bring those two qualities together, is where you get like a juxtaposition and a complexity, which makes a film truly stand out and wonderful, which makes it human. Because when you have two elements coming together, it's what brings out humanity, because we're all these complex beings, right? So I think when I was studying this film, or when I've been studying every film, one thing I always note to bring complexity of character and story and plot and scene is always this range of contradictions. And here we see it at the logline level. So here's a piece of advice I'd give to all the budding screenwriters watching our podcast is that even when you're writing your log line and you're figuring out the conflict, take your character's journey and pull it to the other extreme. What would it be at the other end? And then pull it back a little till it's a little more believable. Because you can't have someone simultaneously be a hero and a villain, right? You can't be Superman and what's the villain there? I don't know.
I
I
forgot.
have like, I was gonna say kryptonite, but I'm like, I don't
I
know. You
think
get it. You can't be Superman and his kryptonite at the same time. Like, what you have to do is you have to be Superman and someone who also maybe doesn't like puppies but saves them anyway. You know? So that is my two bit on breaking down a log line. The next time, what I'm going to do is write down the actual log lines from my perspective for the film too, and see how we can break that down.
yeah, and Lex Luthor was Superman's villain.
Okay, yeah. Why don't we do this as an exercise now? Let's just construct the log line. I mean, I haven't written it down, but if we had to
Okay.
do it right now,
Yeah.
okay, let's see. How would we? What are the elements we should have in a good log line? We should have the main character,
Yeah.
the main character's flaw, what's the conflict, and what's at stake. Am I missing something?
No, I think that's that, huh?
Okay. So, when a gunda with a heart of gold lies to his father about being a doctor and gets caught, he decides to enroll himself in medical school to prove that he can actually become a doctor to win over his father's love and the love of his life, lest he What's at stake for him? His father's love, right?
Yeah, I think lest I think you that have already established for his father's love.
Love,
Uh,
yeah. Lest he never be on the receiving end of his father's love ever
hmm,
again,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, okay, so that is essentially how you construct a log line. So, I've done it off the cuff. There might be some elements missing,
yeah.
but so yeah, that's a log line. That's how it's done. So, whenever you're writing a log line, these five elements are crucial. There might be more. We'll break them down the next time for you. But this is a quick way of making sure that your film has all the crucial elements. Okay, so now one of my favorite analysis to do because I'm structure queen is looking at
I
the
like
hero's
structure.
journey.
Yeah.
Structure queen, yeah. I'm gonna edit on a clown over here in the edit.
Yeah.
So let's go into one of the most important writing tools, which is often overlooked, but it's crucial to making sure your story actually has a spine that carries you through all the emotional beats, and that is your hero's journey. The reason I think hero's journey is so important is that yes, it's formulaic, blah blah blah, but it's formulaic for a reason, right? It's because that even if your story is weak in several other ways, if you hit the beats in a hero's journey, you know that there's a certain emotional arc your characters will be going on. And that provides a certain entertainment and journey value to your audience. And
And what that's interesting with Hero's Journey is that, it gives you a slight leeway, I think, that
Mhm.
even if you've not perfected your character work, uh, at least
Yeah,
you're still taking
yeah.
your audience on a journey. So
Journey, yeah, yeah.
obviously I love when the character work is great, but oftentimes, and especially in big budget commercial films, you're not expecting something very profound or gut wrenching. That feeling doesn't come from that, and I think uh, a good hack to that is if you can like plot it on hero's journey.
Exactly. So let's go into the hero's journey of Munnabhai,
Yeah,
the main character.
yeah.
And yeah, okay. So what I have first is the ordinary world, which is the opening image. Where the ordinary world is when you see your character in their day-to-day life, what they do, how they live. And in Munnabhai's world, it's very well established. We open with a wonderful chase sequence, which has so many twists and turns. I can't wait to break that scene down when we
Yeah.
go into our scene breakdowns. You see that he's this man who's always beating everyone up, etc. Then you immediately see that his ordinary world also encompasses, and however you pronounce that English
Encompasses.
medium, no, encompasses,
Okay.
encompasses.
It
Yeah, sorry,
contains.
mom and dad. I promise I went like I paid attention in school. But the lie to his father. So the lie to his father is the fact that they think he's doing medicine when he's not. And we also see establish that he's single and he wants to fall in love and Chinky, Dr. Asana's daughter, is someone he is gunning for.
I have a slightly differing opinion about.
Okay.
I felt that the ordinary life is
Hmm.
essentially your first few scenes up till the point where the dad comes and you realize this is
Okay.
the facade, and
Hmm.
say, so that's that, he, uh, I like the flip of how he is as
Hmm.
a person.
Hmm.
Also, we come to know about his character that he is quite ethical as a gunda. And then ultimately, when his dad comes around and we see the flip,
Hmm.
how they convert their house into a fake hospital, and
Hmm.
until the dad proposes that, oh, you need to get married now, to me, I would call that as a call to action.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Because it just felt more organic that this is like his father wouldn't have like his this wouldn't um his life wouldn't have changed, or we wouldn't have gone into this movie right now if the father wouldn't have said you need to get married now. Had
Yeah,
so
I agree
that
with you.
so
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
why I felt that was a call to action, because that's what starts our story for this film right now.
I agree with you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think definitely. Yeah. Because that is the call to action. And what you have then is the refusal to the call.
Yeah.
I think where he, despite like the opportunity to admit to the truth that I am not a doctor, I can't marry her, he furthers the lie.
Yeah.
He says that I'm going to keep, he says, call me. That he's at Dr. Asthana's house waiting for Chinky. Someone
Yeah.
calls and he's like, हाँ दो bottle glucose चला देना उसको.
Yeah.
So that
And
is refusal of the call,
refusal
right?
of the call, and he also goes ahead with the lie when which he says, "Ki, my life is very hectic. How will anybody understand my life if
Yeah,
like what the life of a doctor entails?" And that's when the
yeah,
father goes one step ahead. He's like, "That's what I know your life, like your life, and hence I've chosen a
yeah,
girl who is also a doctor."
yeah.
So, uh, and that's what propels us into, uh, I would say, okay, so this is what I noticed about this film, that your first few beats of the hero's journey up till you're crossing the threshold are very closely stuck to each other. It happens in a
Yeah.
very quick span of time, which is, I think, great, because all of them essentially, the first five beats essentially um, combine your first act of the film. Uh,
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
then and then once the moments after that, your act two is really long, like it's
Yeah.
very long.
And there's almost no act three.
Yeah, yeah. So act three is like literally like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
that's what. So then, when I think when the call when the refusal of the call happens, uh, he we go into the next plot beat of our hero's journey, which is meeting the mentor, and that's when he calls Chinky. That's what I think. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
decide.
I've gotten cheeky slash someone here. It's the
Talk to
mentor
someone.
too.
Uh,
Yeah.
and this wonderfully plays out the entire film, because whenever uh, Munna has or Murli, he is sort of stuck in a conundrum. Uh, he's there with Dr. Suman chatting it out. Uh,
Yeah.
so I really like that his romantic love interest, which is the plot B of the film, also comes in very closely with his plot A of the film.
Yeah. Yeah. It's introduced in the first act itself, and they've not made her just a subplot character, but also the mentor character.
Yeah.
So yeah, that she guides him throughout medical school. She tells him what the do's and don'ts are, and she also contributes to the subplot in a big way. So
Yes.
yes.
So I felt that was meeting the mentor, which what happens is once, and then the moment comes where they Munna's father discovers the lie. He comes to know the truth,
Yeah.
because Chinky's dad, Dr. Asthana, who is the sort of the antagonist of our film, he
Yeah.
really berates them, disrespects them, is insulting towards Murli, and that's when, and after that, when Munna decides that he's going to become a doctor no matter what, because
Yeah.
he felt so hurt about how his father felt,
Yeah.
and they've done that in the way in the movie where there's the pagdi which his dad doesn't wear while leaving
Yeah.
the
A
house.
mark of respect. Yeah.
Yeah, a mark of respect. He doesn't wear that while leaving, and it really
Yeah.
hurts him. And that's when he decides
Yeah.
that he's going to become a doctor no matter what now, and he's going to
Yeah.
show it to
Yeah.
Dr. Nathana. So I thought that was a
100%.
very concrete crossing the threshold moment.
Yes. Yes. Perfect. Okay, so that is our act one.
Yeah. And I
And
think, if I'm
then,
not wrong, this was the first 30 minutes of the movie. Uh, I could be wrong, but vaguely I remember this.
yeah, must be. I don't remember. Which is a good thing, I think, because I wasn't looking at the clock, which means I was quite invested in the film. I
Yeah.
wasn't even looking at my phone. I wasn't on two screens, big screen and small screen at the same time.
Okay. And now, after this, which is the next beat of tests, allies, enemies,
Yeah.
you have a lot of sort of small, small sequences, which is about, uh, getting the entrance exam cleared to the hospital where he's going to get admitted, getting admission into the college, meeting this woman, Dr. Suman, who we know
Hmm.
is also chinky, but he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So there is
No.
inherent juiciness to that. Uh,
Yeah.
at a
And I'm
certain,
gonna pause you there.
Hmm.
Pause you. I'm gonna make ask you to pause there.
Yeah,
Uh, what it's interesting. You said juiciness, so I want to break that down again, just because technique, like for
yeah,
our audience,
yeah,
is one important technique which all films inherently have is keeping a secret which the audience knows and the character doesn't know. So the idea behind doing this is we are constantly on tenterhooks about when that secret is going to come out. And this is a trick you have to have in any scene, in any movie where you want to have a lot of drama. You're always going to see secrets. And those secrets don't have to be big secrets. They can be played out very lightly. Like in this film, it's done with a touch of like lightheartedness. It's funny. But you're still waiting. You're like, oh, this is going to blow up in his face. So giving information to the audience, but not to the character, A, makes the audience feel a little more in the loop, in the know. It makes them one step ahead of the character, which always makes you more interested in the invested in the film. And B, it also creates conflict for the plot because you're waiting, like this is going to blow up, and it gives you many, many opportunities to play around with it. So that is an important hack I want to highlight over here.
Can I be very honest? I
Hmm.
feel the most unsure about this technique in while writing because I'm
Really?
constantly assessing, or should the audience know this information or should they not? Should they or should they not? Should they? And I'm always like, will the scene be more interesting if they know it or will they not know it? So, and I find in whatever the writer rooms I have been in, this is always the biggest point of debate because
Hmm.
we see both merits, um,
Yeah.
both sides, and it's very. I find it personally very confusing, but also very juicy. Again, juicy to
Yeah.
think about at most at length because,
Hmm.
like you said, it affects engagement while watching.
Yeah. I think it may work better depending on how quick the payoff is. For
Hmm.
example, this is the same idea, which I'm going to break down later, of Hitchcock's bomb under the table, right? So, where the idea is that there's a family sitting for breakfast, and there's a bomb under the table. The family doesn't know that there's a bomb under the table, but the audience knows. And one person gets up, they're like, okay, I'm going to leave. They come back saying, I forgot this. And you're just waiting for everyone to leave the table because just if the bomb explodes, like you want no one to be there, right?
Yeah.
And that is that constant, like, my heart is in my mouth, fearful moment. So
Yeah.
it works very well in a scene because you can build a lot of tension.
Hmm.
But the risk you run doing it across a film is that the joke gets repetitive or the secret gets repetitive. You're like, "Arey yaar, abhi to bata do, matlab kya hone wala hai?" Ya move it forward. So you have to know the right time to reveal that information. So at a scene level, it works very quickly because you know that information is going to be revealed at the end of the scene, and you can really hold tension. But doing it across the length of the film, where the whole idea is to constantly be building up the scene, one scene after another, using the same secret over and over to build conflict may not be the right idea because it leads to boredom,
Okay.
frankly.
So we were talking about the test allies and enemies. We spoke about
Yeah.
meeting Dr. Suman. Uh,
Yeah.
we also see him start asserting his dominance in the college, whether it's be like
Hmm.
through the ragging sequence or just,
Yeah.
how he is just like getting a separate bed for himself, getting a fridge, like almost a small
Yeah.
dingy but hostel room is like a new,
Yeah.
new fancy room. Uh,
Yeah.
or even the getting through that class where they have to make an incision through that scalpel. Uh,
Hmm.
so I would say these are these small tests which keep coming his way.
Yeah.
He definitely has allies who are like the his roommate. So this was essentially where our act two had started, and then we talk about the next two moments in a hero's journey, which is your approach to the inmost cave and the ordeal. Um,
Hmm.
I personally couldn't make out one after the other. Uh, I couldn't figure out, oh, this stage got over and this one started right now. Uh, and I think they've sort of intertwined these moments because what is approach to the inmost cave is that where your main protagonist sort of comes face to face with his innermost fear or like his flaw, and he realizes, oh, the problem is sort of me, like so that really doesn't happen in the movie till the very end of the film, in this one at least.
Yeah.
So but
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
but they have small realizations about he has. And I
Hmm.
think that I can classify into this along with the ordeal, because he's really
Hmm.
thrown into a lot of different things, which he honestly did not expect that he, like, he was such a daft guy when he realized that, oh, medicine to aise ho jayega, you know? So, so, uh, and a couple of sequences play out in that way where, he is comforting the young suicidal lover, or there is the comatose patient Anand Bhai. These all sort of moments where he realized that this profession is not easy.
Hmm.
Especially we can see that with Anand Bhai, because he really realizes that the tricks that he used with other people did not work.
Hmm.
Uh, but he still gets a little bit of glimmer from him when he blinks, and so that
Yeah.
that keeps the story going forward. Uh,
Yeah.
and what's interesting is that he deals all of these situations. He deals with his own bhaigiri way. So
Hmm.
uh, that's that. I think so. I would say that for me, that those were the uh, approach to the inmost cave and ordeal. And here,
Yeah.
he also sort of gets a bait that if he'll clear the exams, he'll get to meet Chinky,
Hmm.
and that he challenges Dr. Asthana that,
Yeah. That's your midpoint.
yeah, that he challenges Dr. Asthana that I'm gonna ace these exams no matter what.
Yeah. I will become a doctor. I will marry your daughter.
Yeah.
And Asthana's like, मैं उसकी वाट लगा दूंगा. So there you've established like from hating him to like really wanting to get rid of this guy. Like initially, Dr. Asthana's he's the antagonist of the film,
Yeah.
but he's annoyed at his presence. But I think at this point, he's really like actively decided to take steps. So I think there's rising action in that point.
Yeah.
The stakes have gone up, like the conflict has gone up. The antagonist has really up what up the trouble our protagonist is gonna face.
Up the
Yeah,
ante. Yeah.
up the ante. Yes, word that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then comes the moment of reward, which is the next
Hmm.
step in our hero's journey, where I thought the Anand Bhai blinking was a good reward for him. Like, he
Hmm.
realized that there is some hope. He understands now these areas of life. Um,
Yeah.
Being able to help Zahir, Jimmy Shergill's character, when that song Dekhle happens,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
realizes he can make them smile. And I think this he doesn't notice this, but as an audience, we notice that the entire hospital sort of becomes his fan in some way. Uh,
Hmm.
so they had that sequence where the kids, all the students, आपस में were like, अरे मेरे को भी जादू की चप्पी दे दे.
Ha, ha.
And अरे टेंशन नहीं लेने का रे. Like so we understand the entire hospital is sort of coming around him, and
Yeah.
that's a big reward for him as a character, which he doesn't clock it. But I think as
Yeah.
an audience, we can clock that, oh, this is the kind of impact our main characters had on the world, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
So, so I thought that was a interesting. It's a sort of twisted reward, like because it's not a big reward, which like
Yeah.
generally these films have, but it came in like small moments.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next point in the journey is the road back, and
Hmm.
where he realizes that मेरा काम हो गया, I can now leave. I'm not be able to do
Hmm.
it. Uh, and he is now going to leave the college. But for some reason, Dr. Suman, who he's had a crush on, she tells, at least complete your studies. Like this hospital
Yeah.
needs you. Come on, like don't leave us.
Yeah.
And he's about to be rusticated. That's by Dr. Asthana. I thought
Hmm.
this could be the road back. And but then there's a moment of the resurrection, which is our next step in the hero's journey, where he decides that once Dr. Suman has told him that don't go, he decides, okay, nobody can throw me away. So even if he's being rusticated, he jumps from the first floor and
Yeah.
and continues to stay in the hospital. And
Yeah.
and this is the moment where we also realize that the girl has fallen in love with him. The entire hospital saves him from the police. You know, like they have the matron shutting
Hmm.
the doors, and then there's the final challenge thrown at him, which is like there'll be three professors taking your viva, and then he appears for that test, and he did whatever that he cheated in that as well, which is done throughout the film. But in that moment, he has that final realization that this is not for me. I
Hmm.
cannot go through this because he just witnessed the death of a patient the previous night. And he realizes that this is not for this. And the final return with the elixir is when I think after he leaves college, I think for the audience, it's Anand Bhai moving. There is
Hmm.
the speech of Dr. Suman, and then finally his parents coming around saying they're really proud of him. His dad
Yeah.
wearing the pagdi, and finally like
Yeah.
having the actual meet cute with Chinky.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was the hero's journey of this film. It's not clear.
Yeah.
It's not the most clear, but if we have to retrofit it, I think it makes sense a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And I also think the reason we don't have a very evident hero's journey in this is because the character doesn't overcome his flaw in this
Hmm.
movie. He realizes he has a flaw.
Hmm.
I think that is his arc.
Hmm.
His arc is not going from I'm someone who's scared to becoming learning how to be brave.
Hmm.
He's someone who's almost has this very lackadaisical attitude towards everything in life and thinks chalega to
Hmm.
realizing कि मतलब ये lackadaisical attitude चलता नहीं है क्योंकि इससे जान जाती है
Hmm.
literally.
Hmm.
तो he's like medicine कोई मतलब खेल नहीं है, हम जिंदगी के साथ खेल नहीं खेल सकते हैं.
Yeah.
That's his character arc, right? Learning how to take things seriously.
Hmm. Or it's not one of those definite goals which we see in like say an action adventure movie where you find five clues when you have to find 10 clues. Like it's like there is no big tangible reward as such. Like
Hmm.
the the he set out on this journey is because he wanted to win the respect back of his dad. So
Yeah.
it's an intangible concept.
Hmm.
So I guess
Yeah.
that also comes through.
Yeah. And he wins that respect of his dad at the end of it, regardless. Not by becoming a doctor, but by
Yeah.
being honest.
Yeah.
His dad never said be a doctor. His dad said be honest.
Yeah.
And when he admits to lying,
Mm.
and when he takes responsibility for himself, the arc is complete. So
Mm.
it's not about like, and this is another screenwriting rule, right? That we say that the goal is external. The actual goal that the character has to achieve is the character arc. And
Mm.
once they have arced, whether they achieve the goal or not is kind of irrelevant to the film because
Yeah.
you're not following them for that. Like you said, it's not a action film where you have to kill the bad guy.
Mm.
You have to, the character just needs to realize that he is flawed.
Mm.
Okay, should we go into the scenes or the sequences?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've identified three key scenes which I want to talk about from a technical and craft point of view because I think they're very well done. And the first scene is the opening image. Now, before I get into why it's good, I want to talk about what makes a very gripping scene. And a gripping scene, like a gripping story, is one which constantly builds on each other and takes you through different twists and turns, right? So you can't see what's coming next. And this is especially important in an opening scene because you want to get audience buy-in as early as possible. And you bring audience buy-in by like taking them on an adventure. So twists and turns are important to an adventure. Now, what gives you that audience buy-in? Like, how do you break it down? I'd say the first is conflict, and conflict that keeps increasing and building up. So you start. So let's talk about the first image of the first bit of the opening image, where you have the victim who is walking, and you have Arshad Warsi's character Circuit, like giving him the eyes. So this guy is just like, okay, I feel something on me. Then, so that immediately brings like, okay, there's some tension there. There's first level of conflict. Then he starts chasing him. So then you go into jeopardy. So you keep running. So you build on that. A good scene is one where you're that's building on each other. After that, you want more conflict between the two. So this guy jumps into the cab with Sanjay Dutt's character is driving, and you think he's a good cab driver. So he starts like going around town. There's a chase sequence. You don't know what's going to happen next. So it keeps you guessing,
Yeah.
which is another important element because you shouldn't know where the scene is going.
And what's interesting is that the audience obviously knows that this is not a regular cab driver. This is your main
It's Sanjay
hero.
Dutt.
It's
Yeah.
Sanjay Dutt. He's your main hero of the film. So,
Yeah.
and they sort of know the premise of the movie, right? You've seen the trailer, you've read the
Yeah.
logline and or something. So you know that this guy is a bhai. So
Yeah.
you're already a little like confused and invested at the same time.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and then at the end of it, it's revealed that he was actually in on it and he is the bhai. So, this is another important screenwriting technique called a misdirection. You lead the audience to believing something and then you turn their expectations on their head, which is important here. And then they don't just stop there. They realize that the guy they kidnapped was the wrong guy, and the man they were carrying out this supari for was in fact the bad guy. So they turn it around on him again. So it shows character and it shows a twist in the scene. So how can you keep bringing in twists and turns through new information?
Yeah.
I think this scene does a very good job of breaking down the elements that are essential to building a good scene: tension, jeopardy, action, misdirection, and twists. Okay, so that's a good scene. Then the next scene I want to get into was the immediate like next scene, which is Babuji's introduction. And the reason I really like this scene is because why make it easy when you can make it hard? So a scene which is supposed to reveal character works like this. You are supposed to put your character in the worst possible situation and make it as bad as possible. Like you need to stick your character against a wall and then see how they wriggle out of it. And that will reveal their strengths, their weaknesses, the way they think, how they function. And this scene is done very well because they have immediately established Babuji's character as the contrast of Munna's character,
Yeah.
which is important for setting up conflict between the two of them. Why is there such a big difference between the two of them? Is you can only you can only have this father-daughter, this father-son drama if there is conflict between the two of them, if they're opposites.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they've made this guy so upstanding that he goes and defends a pickpocket. And doesn't just defend him, he brings him home to his doctor's son to take care of, which is making it worse. So anyway, they are converting their whole hospital, their whole adda into a hospital. Now they have to treat an actual patient. so-called patient. So they made it worse for the character. So, oh God, like how is he actually going to treat this patient? How can we push him against the wall? Then to make it even worse, this is very good use of the world because a pickpocket is someone who will exist in Munna's world because he is there like different levels on the scale of Gunda, right? On the scale of like transgression. So the pickpocket actually recognizes Munna. He's like, bro, he ain't no doctor. Like, I know this. So they made it even worse. Like, how is he going to wriggle out of this situation?
Yeah.
And what we see throughout the scene is as it gets worse, how does Munna wriggle out of these situations? By using his gundagiri, by using brute force. So that way they established his modus operandi. So they've constantly pushed him against the wall, and then they're like, he doesn't have intelligence. That's what they've established through the scene. They have pulled him out and said that, नहीं, इसका ये है, मतलब लोगों को मार पीटना, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to talk about the scene in terms of how to up the ante constantly by making it worse for your character and to show how they deal with bad situations. Good revealing of character.
And it's again like a little bit of a rising action in that way that you might think that, oh, abhi babuji ko malum pad jayega ki he's not a doctor, but okay, but brought it down, you know. And so
He's
that
dealt with it, like he's
he's dealt-
wriggling from behind the wall.
correct. So that was quite interesting, and what a cool opening sequence for the film. And I see this happening in a lot of films where you see the main character fears. When they're making this entry, they have this sequence of like this chaos and everybody like being a little. Devil Wears Prada did this, where Miranda
Everyone.
they're just rummaging through everything, and you have Nigel's character like, God, your loins, and they see like when she enters the lift, she's walking, like it's the same thing, you know, like
Same thing. Yeah.
same thing.
It sets up, it creates suspense that abhi hone kya wala hai. Who is this character? It's like the entry scene of the character, right? Like, ki you're building up tension, stakes. Oh my God, who is this person? So I think that's when it brings audience interest in again, like not giving complete information.
Yeah. And I don't know if any of you noticed this. This is not a screenwriting thing, but like, who was the pickpocket? That was Nawazuddin.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I genuinely love this thing when I see old films where like actors used to be extras and now they suddenly have had their like rise and shine moment. I remember seeing Big Bang Theory also, and it had Octavia Spencer as just like this driving license attendant in the license department, and obviously eventually won an Oscar. So I love these moments when I see on film. It's just like so humbling.
Yeah, okay, मतलब हमारा भी chance है, हम भी बढ़ेंगे, हमारा भी podcast better होगा. We won't ramble for so long without any structure.
Okay, tell me about the next sequence you loved.
So honestly, the next sequence where I genuinely found a good screenwriting technique, which is not like a normal scene, comes really towards the end of the film.
Okay.
The scene where Babuji returns. Okay. And the reason I liked it is, I think another important question to ask when you're writing a scene is, how do I turn this scene on its head? So, for example, if you have two people reuniting, it's always like Karan Arjun, you know, aa gaye types. And that is the typical way of doing it. And maybe the first draft that you write will be that. And it's perfectly fine. Unless you have a mentor who told you that even first drafts need to be great. Don't listen to them. Oh, no personal trauma. But your first scene, your first draft of any scene of your whole film is going to be cliched, right? So when you want to rewrite the scene, and I would love to talk to the writers, hey, if any of the writers are listening to us and want to like chime in, hi, is whether this came in the rewrite or not. Because when you're doing a rewrite, what you ask is, okay, I've written this cliched scene. Now, how do I turn it on its head? And I think in the scene where Babuji comes, they've played it out like a dream sequence, right? He's just like, अच्छा ये मतलब मैं सपना देख रहा हूँ, मतलब वो actually है, like, you know, all of that. So what would have ordinarily been like, oh, Babuji, he's like, wait, am I saying this? So I believe the question they asked when going from the first draft to the second is, how can we make the scene ulta? उसको मतलब पूरी तरह से how can we turn it on its head, and then like let's go from extreme reality to extreme like dream sequence and then bring it back down to reality.
Yeah.
And I think that is again a very good way, a technique of like fully flipping a scene and subverting audience expectations
Yeah.
and then bringing it back down.
Yeah, it was done very nicely. And I think what you're saying is that entering the scene in a different way, I would say
Yeah.
even the previous scene to this scene, which has once Munna leaves the college and Dr. Suman has a speech because she's angry right now. And her first reaction you think is gonna be like she's gonna like break into like a fit with her father about how
Yeah.
like this happened, that happened. But the first thing she says is, congratulations, you
Yeah.
succeeded. You know,
Succeeded. Yeah.
we will not smile in this hospital. We will only be mechanical in this hospital. Like you won't have heart in this hospital. And I thought that was also done exactly in the way you're saying that. I think at the beats or the first draft level, this would be like, oh, Dr. Suman confronts her father.
Yeah.
But at the rewrite stage, it's like, how can we flip it over, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
How can we make this different? How can we make this more interesting?
yeah.
Sure. Okay, that's what I have on scenes.
Hmm.
Next, what do you want to go into? Dialogue?
Yeah, let's do dialogue.
Dialogue. Okay. So, one dialogue which I thought was very well done is which encompasses a lot of techniques is when Papa Babuji is like leaving,
Hmm.
and you've always wondered where the strife between Munna and his dad comes from, right? And he says this line to his mom. He's like, जब भी मैंने उनसे बात की थी फोन पे years ago, मुझे लगा पूछेंगे कि कैसे हो. इंस्टेड मुझे पूछा कि मुंबई में क्या करते हो, तो मैंने कहा कि डॉक्टर बन गया. So in 3 lines, they have established the whole backstory. They have established the emotional strife between what Munna wanted of his father versus what his father gave him. And they've also established that he can confide in his mom more than he can confide in his dad, all in 3 lines. Amateur writer, which we all once were and still are in our first drafts, would have ordinarily done this as a big opening, like back to flashback scene. But what they've done over here is found out how to make it economical in 3 lines while giving you all the information they need to give. So it establishes backstory, it establishes the relationship with the dad, and it establishes the dad's character all in 3 lines, which is what good lines of dialogue will do, which will come in your second draft. So another dialogue I really wanted to talk about was Zahir's monologue in डॉक्टर सुमन's ऑफिस when she says कि तुम सब काम निपट के मतलब आज शाम तक एडमिट हो जाओ. And he says, अच्छा मतलब बीवी ढूंढनी थी, घर खरीदना था, सेटल होना था, वो आधे दिन में निपट जाओ. वो बहन की शादी करवानी थी, अच्छा आधे दिन में वो निपटा लो. And it's monologuing, right? And we have a rule, other than in like superhero films where villains are allowed to monologue before they almost kill their hero. Monologuing is bad. You don't monologue, right? But I think there's an exception to the rule, which this film has caught very well, is you're allowed to monologue when you are talking about a universal truth. In this scene, they're talking about how humans feel when we're met with these unforeseen situations that turn our lives upside down, and it puts you where you have to reconsider everything. This scene has audience buy-in because it is not a character complaining about something which we don't relate to or anything. It is talking about a universal truth, which is when you are allowed the screen space to talk about it because your audience is going like, yes, yes, say the thing which I always wanted to say, but I couldn't say. So that's a great space to monologue, I think.
Very interesting.
I had another. I can't understand my notes.
Okay,
बैठ के आए
I'll say something.
ला.
tab tak.
Yeah.
Uh, I just love the way the dialogue just described the world of
Hmm.
Munna. कि
Yeah.
अरे मामा वो टेंशन नहीं लेने का, you know, just this lie क्या ये कर रहा है वो कर रहा है, like
Yeah.
it's so telling of his character. And this medical college where this all speaking quite polished English, he completely stands out. So,
Hmm.
so in every scene, Munna he'll always be different, right? So
Yeah.
that's a great hack for this film. They found that that's almost like a pass on this do bhai pass, like how you
Yeah.
make.
Yeah.
And I think that the world which they've captured, there's that one moment in the film where Munna gets a hospital. No, Munna gets a bed in the hospital for Anand Bhai, and
Yeah.
Dr. Astana is in a scene, and I think somebody comes and says कि वो मुन्ना hospital में bed लेके आएला है, and
हाँ.
Dr. Astana is just walking out. He's like, what is this लेके आएला है? Mind your language. And
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
you realize that the sort of the hospital is getting impacted by this. Like the worlds
Yeah.
are sort of merging.
Merging.
It's not just for our character, but like the entire world is merging here.
Exactly. And what that shows is that people are beginning to welcome Munna into their world. They have accepted him.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what it's showing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another dialogue I really think was done well was when they want to listen to Anand by his heartbeat. And there's a lot of, it's a moving scene. So there's like a lot of energy in that scene going on. But even then, they don't say, ke, give me your stethoscope. Munna says, hey, doctor, headphone dena. So even in that moment where you don't really care about the dialogue because you're like, you care about the action, what's going to happen. He's going to put the stethoscope there and he's going to hear the heartbeat. Like that's this tension. Even in that moment, they have stayed true to the character. So which is where we come back to your point of doing a bypass. Probably in the first draft it said acha stethoscope dena because you're thinking of the tension in the moment of the action of the scene. But when they did the bypass, you're like, ये भाई को stethoscope मतलब हमसे ज्यादा बोला नहीं जाता, इससे क्या बोला जाएगा? Like
Yeah.
headphone.
Yeah. I didn't notice that. That's quite cool. Yeah.
Could be, right?
I just
I think this is a good time to go into the world.
Hmm.
What I really liked was how they've merged the two worlds, like you said earlier, of the Bhai world and the medical world. And I'll bring out a couple of examples where they're really good. The first time maybe mentioned where the pickpocket who Babuji catches is actually recognizes Munna, like Nawaz's character. So there they merged the worlds very well. They're like, if they existed in the same world, there will be some familiarity. Very well. The next is I thought this was beautifully done of merging the two worlds. What is common between a Gunda's world and a hospital's world? A body.
Yeah.
Both have dead bodies.
Yeah.
And that is so, I think when you're writing and you have two such distinct worlds, it is your duty to make sure that every plot point is true to those worlds. And that's what they really thought about here. And they bring like there's a cadaver and he's like तुझे देखना है तो खुद का मतलब लेके आ जा. And he calls Circuit, yeah. And Circuit is like ठीक है. And he almost brings them a dead body. Thankfully they don't kill him, but like so that I thought was very cleverly done.
Yeah.
So whenever you're merging two worlds, always spend a moment to think. Don't just when you want to build a conflict, don't just think कि ये conflict क्या हो सकता है. ये world में क्या conflict हो सकता है. That is important. And another moment where they bring this up was when I noticed it in a dialogue where Munna says 206 type का हड्डी है. तोड़ने के टाइम सोचा था क्या?
Yeah.
So it is like this new image from, oh, I've learned that there are 206 bones. Man, we didn't think about it when breaking someone's bones.
Yeah.
Again, merging two worlds very well together.
And I think it happens at multiple points. The two, three you've mentioned, But even the moment the big revelation comes in the first act, which is that how does it come to know, is because the house help tells
Bye.
uh,
Yeah.
Dr. Asthana, right? Like
Yeah.
again, you would never imagine this would happen. They tried to cover all their bases. He called Chinky to tell her that please don't tell any kid.
Yeah.
But this unexpected twist
Yeah.
which happens. So again,
Bye.
meeting of the worlds, which happened so nicely, you know, and
Yeah.
they do it
Yeah.
again and again. Like even the way they comfort Zahir, it's like they sort of just got him a woman,
Yeah.
you know,
Woman.
like
Boy.
uh, so just like just they've tried to do that very nicely.
So, yeah. I think the next thing I want to talk about is subplots.
Hmm.
So, the general screenwriting rule is that your subplot has to tie into your main plot.
Hmm.
They can't exist as two different, completely separate tracks.
Hmm.
And they've done that over here very well with Chinky's plot,
Hmm.
where what they do is they brain broke. Yeah. Where Chinky and Munna have this like love story like going on.
Yeah.
But then when Munna is about to leave college, like you said, Chinky steps in and says, don't leave college.
Hmm.
And that shows the B plot affecting the A plot,
Hmm.
which is what your subplots have to do. They have to have a ramification on the main plot.
Hmm.
And another thing I want to talk about was the information that's not wasted.
Hmm.
For example, the subplot of Rustam's father, the Karim man.
Hmm.
So they've done it interestingly by showing a unique kind of kidnapping, right?
Hmm.
Where they don't really kidnap Rustam's father, but they hold him hostage by actually having fun with him
Hmm.
while Rustam goes and gives the exam for Munna. And they do this twice.
Hmm.
So it shows Gunda with a heart of gold because they've done it in a fun and unique way. They've not like taped him up and put him in the back of the car, which they could have done.
Hmm.
But what this also does is build trust.
Hmm.
Because later on, when they want to win Dr. Rustam over, they use all those elements from that scene of Karim, of food, of orange juice, and they help cure the father. So
Yeah.
that all that setup is not just set up for like a unique way of playing out those individual scenes. Also from a story point of view, when they have to bring the arc of an antagonist over from the antagonist side of an antagonist to the side of someone who's on the side of the protagonist now, they have set that up and not wasted that room and information. So it's
Hmm.
using one scene to do multiple things.
Hmm. Very interesting. Hmm.
Yeah. So
I want to talk a little bit about
yeah.
the Dr. Suman character, thoda sa.
Okay. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that a little bit of cultural commentary I want to give here is that when Zahir stops like responding, Dr. Suman rushes to Munna and says like, Munna, kya kare hum? Make a samajh, like, you know, that. And
Yeah.
this is something Reese Witherspoon spoke about in a speech which she was giving at this Women in Film Award or something. You know, one of those panels where she said that
Yeah.
she was tired of reading scripts where
Yeah.
just to solve the final, before the final climax moment where hero comes back into action, the female
Yeah.
character runs to him and she's like, "What do I do?" And she said she was tired of reading this because she's like, at no point in reality, a woman will turn to a man in a moment of crisis and say,
Yeah.
what do we do? Expecting the guy to answer. And obviously, this film falls into that trap because this is 2003. There was not
Yeah.
this awareness that female characters need to have their own agency. But
Yeah.
and because we've been watching modern films of late, so this point didn't come up. But when I saw this movie now for this exercise, it immediately struck out that oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was telling like the truth. Like there is some like
Yeah.
reality to that.
Yeah. And it's especially bad in this film because she's a qualified doctor and he isn't. And she still
Exactly.
turns to him. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. So Uh, that was a moment I got a little frustrated. Uh,
Yeah,
but they do what they had to do.
definitely. They do what they have to. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that's it from us, I think, today. We
Yeah.
hope you have enjoyed coming on this ramble of Munna Bhai, where you had enough context watching the film. If not, go back and watch it. Phenomenal film. And kudos to you for going through this 2 hour episode nearly without having recently watched the film. It means we're fairly decent ramblers, and
Yeah.
we promise we will get better.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we hope these tips and tricks helped you. And you know the drill: like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you have any questions for us, as you can see, we love to ramble. We will give you a roundabout answer that eventually gets to the point in the comments. So, so that's it. And we will see you on another episode of Breakdown Besties. And if there's any film you'd like us to break down for you, put it down in the comments. We're always looking for ideas, and let us know. See you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.